Well, hello there team. Hope you all had a wonderful Christmas and were able to fill your bellies with fine meat and delicious grog, which certainly was the case for me, thankfully. But for any returning viewers and those of you who are subscribed, you may have realised by now that I'm more than just a little bit excited for Robert Eggers' interpretation of one of the greatest horror classics of all time, Nosferatu. So I've tried to articulate in previous videos why I feel Robert Eggers is one of the most important directors working today, and a very wise choice for taking on the monumental task of adapting Nosferatu for modern audiences in 2024. So I'm not going to cover old ground, rather I'll simply link the videos in the description for any of you interested in my thoughts on Robert Eggers and my speculations for the upcoming horror film. I will also be making many more videos on this subject to keep you all up to date with the latest, and if you did want to hit that subscribe button down below, it would make me very happy. The choice is very much yours, but thank you. Alright, what I would love to discuss today is yet another fantastic photo that has been teased to us, as well as some background information relating to the image from the director himself. Firstly, it's another great still from the film that doesn't spoil or give anything away, but does a good enough job at generating a little more hype without pushing us into the danger zone of becoming overhyped, because when that happens it usually leads to disappointment, doesn't it? In the image we see the mighty and, let's be honest, all around well respected Willem Dafoe, who is portraying the character Professor Albin Eberhard von Franz. Now, the image comes to us courtesy of Entertainment Weekly, where in the article Eggers describes amping up Dafoe's character, the Professor, to be a crazy vampire hunter. So firstly, I gotta say it, the term crazy vampire hunter just in itself is a bit of a turn off for me. I do realise this was just a quick conversation with the director and we shouldn't read too much into it right now, because we still have no clue as to what is in store for us with Nosferatu, for which I am still very holdfast in my faith that the film will be absolutely phenomenal in all departments. Scares, story, visuals, you name it. I think I just had a moment of shit when I read the description of vampire hunter, you know. And I don't know about you, but when I think about all the connotations linked to the phrase, I'm instantly reminded of many of the action-packed but very cheesy movies revolving around the theme of slaying scores of vampires, such as Van Helsing or Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter and so forth. There are loads of them. The only movies I loved from that particular subgenre were the Underworld series. Underworld knew what it was and never tried to be anything else, so I respect those films for what they were. But when it comes to Robert Eggers' Nosferatu, which is to be released in late 2024, the things that Eggers has spoken about, as well as other information in the form of praise from actors and set stories, then there is the director's reputation thus far. I mean, his movies really do speak for themselves, and I remain in no doubt whatsoever that Nosferatu will be rich in story and lore, well acted, as well as being beautifully gothic, haunting and effectively scary. I'm also equally excited for our first trailer, as I cannot wait to dissect it and really go down the rabbit hole on that one. So let's talk more about the image here and try to appreciate what we can without any footage as of yet to go by. We see Willem Dafoe very poised and posturing here, albeit appearing to laugh hysterically as the foundations around him begin to burn and crumble down. His surroundings would suggest some kind of elegant tomb or bedchamber, I suppose, if you're a vampire. It all looks very lavish and authentic, and I'm sure will be the case with the rest of the film as well. It's only one image, but I love it, and I would say it's by far the most clear and visually descriptive photo we've had so far. Hopefully we'll get some more soon. I'm pleased to say that there's no evidence here to support my previous concerns regarding the vampire hunting silliness. We don't see any automatic revolving crossbows or any other fictionally enhanced weapons of the time present in this image. So let's for now just assume that we will be witnessing a considerably more grounded version of a vampire hunter, and the tools and knowledge for defeating such a dreaded creature will most likely be minimal and realistic. This would certainly allow for much more tension and suspense, ultimately giving Nosferatu the ability to scare audiences far better. Eggers has already spoken to Empire magazine about his passion for the story and his eagerness to give the audience a true gothic horror that will be scary, he promises. What also encourages me as to the integrity of both the filmmaker and the film itself is when Eggers states in the interview that Not only in this particular shot is Willem Dafoe surrounded by real flames that appear to engulf the whole set, but although you can't see it here in the close-up, he is actually surrounded by 2,000 rats, real living rats. So whether they swarm him at some stage, before or after the Professor attempts to burn down the tomb, who knows? But I just love the fact that Dafoe is always up for the challenge and willing to utterly give himself to the task at hand and the project as a whole. No wonder both the director and Dafoe have collaborated 3 times now, which is the majority of Eggers' filmography actually. In the article, he states that while the character from previous versions of the film that the Professor is based on was only ever at the periphery of the action, meaning he was always outside of the action scenes. Eggers' new and amped up creation of the crazy vampire hunter Professor could mean that most of the physical altercations, involving maybe a few violent skirmishes with Count Orlok himself, will possibly all hinge on Willem Dafoe's performance as he seeks out this dark predator with capabilities far beyond the strength of men. So I would measure what we know so far about the film to indicate it will be more of a dramatic and suspenseful gothic horror with undoubtedly a few scenes of colourful action involving the Professor. And regardless of his age, which is 68 I believe, he has an extraordinary talent and acting chops to make any action scene come alive with just his facial expressions alone. You could argue that his last 2 appearances in Eggers' The Lighthouse and The Northman were both frightening and mesmerising enough to leave most audiences in a hypnotic state and comfortable trance. This is another reason why I feel Nosferatu will hopefully be void of any cliched Hollywood depictions of what early 19th century vampire hunting would look like, in a fictional sense of course. Well, I don't want to waffle on too much about the character and film based on just one image, but every new tidbit of information or photo we get only serves to further increase my motivation to rush out to the best cinema near me day one and watch this film. I'm sure in the coming weeks and months more movie stills of other characters will be released, and I'll be sure to cover everything that drops. Robert Eggers did say that his version of Nosferatu will focus a lot more on Ellen Hutter than previous films. Ellen is of course played by Lily Rose Depp, who still remains somewhat elusive in terms of how good an actress she actually is. The director is adamant that she is a standout in this film, so that's great to hear I guess, but we'll see. One actor who I know will bring gravitas to the role, and possibly the entire film, is Ralph Ineson. Good old Ralph has one of these impressive force of nature voices that in certain films his performances only serve to elevate the immersion. He was fantastic as the father of the family in Eggers' first film, The Witch. He's a talented actor, and do I really need to say it, a great voice actor as well. So I do hope he makes an appearance in our first trailer, or in the meantime it would be great just to see him in some movie stills with his character as the focus. Other than that, I think it would be a wise move to keep Bill Skarsgård's Count Orlok under wraps until we see the film. If his makeup is as frightening and unrecognisable as Eggers describes, then it would be a shame to expose it this early on, I think. I'd rather see him in full glory on the day and within the context of the film, so as not to make any prejudgments, if you know what I mean. We're also bound to see a lot more of the Hutters in due course, played by Nicholas Hoult and Lily Rose Depp, as I said before. So that's it for now, just a quick update for anyone else excited about this film. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments, as I love to engage with you guys and it's always interesting to hear other perspectives as well. Alright, that's a wrap for now, and I'll see you soon. Just a polite reminder to please stay entertained, it's important. Take care people, goodbye.